Hello. Well, welcome to my first video report of our California trip. It's been going great so far. I left Pensacola on Thursday morning and missed my connection in Atlanta because of mechanical difficulties with the plane, and ended up getting on a different flight than I originally was booked on, and got bumped up to first class. So that was a good way to excuse me, begin the trip. Got here to Los Angeles, and we're right at Eddie Lassiter's house where he's having his 15th annual men's conference. I've been to several of them. John Bunning, who's with me, has been to all but 2 of the 15 years that Eddie has run this conference. Eddie, I should say, and also Skip Smith. Boyd we're going to meet up with on Monday. He's down in San Diego getting some things together, we're going to be meeting with him. But just a little bit about last night and today. We started our conference last night, we had a couple of speakers, and mainly they talked about how through hard times, through failures of one kind or another, they found a stability in Christ. And so there were some very good things shared last night. We had a good after-time discussion group. And then this morning we got going about 9 o'clock. And we also had a couple of speakers, and continuing pretty much along the same line of how God finds you in negative circumstances, or you find Him, which is really the purpose of one of the purposes of a negative circumstance like that. Is not that God's trying to hurt us or harm us, but those circumstances are part of the way that God brings us into who we really are in Him, because we find that the outer world and also our own self-efforts don't work. We have to find that out. There's no way around that. There's no way around real knowing, if you're going to move on in Christ, that the arm of flesh is of no use. And the arm of flesh, as I often define it in my writings, is the false self-relying self that we've thought we were since birth. That was actually a deception of the enemy. That we're selves alone and apart, and we're responsible for our own good or our own evil. When really we do have responsibility in some sense, which is too long to go into on this little video, but the liberation from that is to come through and see that not only are we dead in Christ, because as it says in so many places where Paul says something to the effect of, for ye are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in God. And the dead part is the old person that we thought we were, the old person that was run by the prince of the power of the air. We're no longer that anymore, and now it's a delusion that would be foisted upon us to believe that, because now we're a totally new creation. This old self has died, and we realize that there really has been a cutoff point. A point of demarcation between the old and the new. Once you can't see it till you see it, but God reveals it to us at a very negative circumstance. When you finally come to the place where you say, well, I can do nothing of myself. We were able to share last night and this morning that the Son said, Jesus Christ Himself said, the Son can do nothing of Himself. The Father that dwells in me, He doeth the works. So the question is, if the Son of God could do nothing of Himself, Jesus Christ of Nazareth could do nothing of Himself, but was totally dependent and totally identified with the life of God the Father inside Him, then how much if he can't do anything, how much more can we not do anything? But of course, it's pride. Pride from the beginning of our lives to think that we can develop godlike qualities like humility or patience or kindness or love. All of those that reside in Him. And when we find our sufficiency only in Him, that's the turning on the light and realizing that not only is He our sufficiency, as if He's somehow apart from us, giving us stuff, we find that inwardly He has come inside us and joined Himself to be one person with us. So I'm not the same, by no means am I the same person I was before, even though I appear to be. But a new life has come into me and raised me up into the life of the deity, into the life of God. So that it says in John, that John 7:38, I think it is, whosoever believeth on me, out of his belly shall flow rivers, rivers, rivers of living water. What is the requirement? Well, He gives the requirement, but we think it's, well, okay, I've got to study more, I've got to develop godlike qualities, I've got to cut off the rough edges of my life, I've got to become humble, I've got to become patient, I've got to become kind, I've got to be a good father, a good steward, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and then God, I will be closer to God. But the real truth is, you can't get closer than being one with Him. You are one with Him. 1 Corinthians 6:17 says, He that is joined to the Lord is one spirit with Him. Spirit to spirit, joined as one. So that you see me, but it's really Christ. And when you look in the mirror and see yourself, you see Christ. But He's in your form and He's in my form. Because the Spirit must have a body to direct and cause activity in this world. And lo, here we are, the body. Not only the body collectively, but we are literally His living body, this flesh and blood, this encasement of flesh and blood and bone and all the things that make up a human person are now His. And He expresses Himself as this shell, as this personality, as this mind, as my emotions. He expresses Himself in every way by means of our humanity, which He now runs. And when you see that, that's liberation. I live, no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And that's what we're trying to get at here today in our men's conference. We're going to have another session in a little while. And then tomorrow, John and I are going to spend all day over in Pacific Palisades with 3 different groups of people. And I'll let you know about that on my next little broadcast here. So, that's that. Ta-ta. I can only figure out how to cut this off now.